Hello, gorgeous. Welcome to HG Radio, everything beauty, cancer, and inspiration. Here is your co-founder and host, Kim Becker.
Hello, gorgeous. You are listening to Hello, Gorgeous, everything beauty, cancer, and inspiration on Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. I'm your host, Kim Becker, once a hairdresser and a salon owner, now the founder of a nonprofit organization that coaches and trains women with cancer to help them smile when they look in the mirror. And if you ask me, I'll tell you, I have the best job in the whole world. This episode is brought to you by Amplified Marketing Group. They specialize in affordable mobile solutions that will get you noticed and help you retain customers. Check them out at www.amplified.marketing. I am so excited. Our guest today is my sister, our very own Trisha Greenlee, who is the Director of Operations at Hello Gorgeous. And we were on an episode last month together. We may do this year. We might just do one episode a month together because I'm kind of liking having you around. So.
Yeah. I dig it.
But Trisha is my right hand. She does all of the day-to-day operations. She's my executioner when I come up with a big dream. She's kind of the one that puts everything into play. And I don't know what I would do without her. We certainly don't know what we do without her at the organization. And from some of my guests earlier today, we were talking about how important it is to put yourself first, and that you have to, what they say on the airplane, right? You have to apply the oxygen mask to yourself first before you can apply it to others. And it makes perfect sense because if you don't have the oxygen and you pass out, you can't help anybody else.
Right.
But this last year, you've made some really huge life changes in your wellness area, and you have lost about 60 pounds to this point. And so I thought with it being the beginning of the year and people having all of their New Year's resolutions, and for many people, myself included, weight loss is all part of that goal, that I wanted to have you on today just to talk about that journey. It's not been easy. It's certainly a lot of persistence on your end. And so I thought you would have a lot to offer to our listeners today just to be able to tell them exactly what you've done and how you did. And it's nothing faddish. Nope. There's no gimmicks. There's no nothing. It's just basically some lifestyle changes. And so I just thought that it would be really good to have you on today. And, women with cancer too, a lot of times, steroids, we all, man, if I go in and a pair of jeans don't fit the way that I think that it ruins my whole day.
Right.
And there are times when you've got women with cancer that have gained weight not of their own accord,
right,
because they're going through, they've got steroids, and sometimes that because you're hungry, so you're eating.
Sure.
And so there are choices that can be made, and there are things that even they can do. And even if they do put weight on, because your goal has got to be to get healthy.
Right.
So if you put weight on during your cancer journey, I thought that you sharing what you did would help them when they got done with their cancer treatment, that this would help to kind of take that off too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anyone and everyone can do it.
Yeah.
That is the nicest thing.
Well, and like I said, it's not faddish. What I've loved about everything that you've done, it's just what you say to me all the time is I'm not doing anything that I'm not committed to doing for the rest of my life.
You hit it on the head.
And, there's one I always remember, the show, Oprah went on MetaFast, and she talked about how she weighed 155 pounds, and she literally weighed 155 pounds for one day. And she got into these really cute jeans, and she pulled a wagon out that had 1 pound of butter for every pound that she had lost. And she felt so good, but she was drinking these shakes, and there were some health side effects that she had due to the shakes. And I remember reading an article that literally she said that one day that she was on that show that she pulled that wagon out, that was the only day that she weighed 155 pounds, because the next day she went back to all of her old eating habits again, and she just started to put that weight back on.
Got it.
Now, this was years ago.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I just think that, what you've done and the journey that you continue on is something that would be very beneficial to our listeners.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about, first of all, like what motivated you to even start this health journey that you started on?
Well, definitely wanting to be healthy. First and foremost, Dan and I had a daughter. We have, a daughter. Sorry, Brianna. We still have a daughter. She's currently 14. And then we were surprised with a second baby. And once Peyton was born, I really wanted to make sure that I found a way to take the weight off of him that I did not take off with from Brianna. So it took me 12 years to get the baby weight off of Brianna, and then I got pregnant again. So I didn't want it to be an additional 12 years. And I also was really tired of what you said was a fad diet. I would do something and I would, for example, not eat any carbohydrates or not eat any sugar. And while I was doing that, it was great and it would work. But then I realized, well, I don't want to live my life without any carbohydrates or sugar. So then I would go back to them. And then I gained the weight back. And so I didn't have as much weight to lose with Peyton, but we were in Las Vegas at a hair show, and I happened to come across a podcast that this lady was this sassy blonde who likes to swear a lot. But what she was talking about and how she lost her weight, which was over 100 pounds, and kept it off for over 13 years at that time, what she was saying made sense. And what she talks about is exactly what you said in the beginning. She found a way to lose weight that she was able to live that exact way for the rest of her life. She was no longer willing to compromise and only live a certain way for 6 months. She was determined to find a way. How can I live and enjoy my life right now as if I'm going to do that same thing in 5 years?
And so you mentioned the podcast. Tell us the name of that podcast.
Yes, it's called Losing 100 Pounds with Corinne. She's fabulous. You can certainly find her on iTunes or any of the social platforms. But yeah, she is just this sassy blonde. She's got, oh my gosh, like 300 podcasts about all different topics about losing weight. And it's all very, very consistent. It's all very easy. And I love the fact that one of her biggest mottos is your next decision is you just make the next best decision.
And that's exactly right. And just a disclaimer here, she does like the F word.
Yeah, she does like the cuss lot. I think that's one of the reasons why I like her so much.
Her, yeah. So, but anyway, if that's something that you're just word to the wise, in case you were going in there and you wanted to know that. So you discovered the podcast. So tell me, what was it? Was there anything else that just really resonated with you? So it was the one that she'd said, don't, make the next best decision and do the things now that you can resonate with, that you can do for the rest of your life. Was there anything else that she said? Like, what was the one thing that she said that you were like, I got to try this? Like, I resonate with her and that I can try this.
I think at the beginning part of her podcast, which really kept me listening, was the fact that she said, there are no restrictions. There are absolutely none. You get to eat what you want. You get to have all the things you want to have. And for so long that it was all about restriction. It was all about, don't eat that donut. It's a carb. You're gonna gain that 2 pounds back you just lost. And so I also like the fact that it was all about having a different communication and speaking to yourself differently. Losing weight is a lot of brain work, which again, anyone can do, because it's getting rid of and it's ditching the crappy story that you have around something. For example, carbs aren't my friend. A donut is my evil nemesis. Not true. A donut is a donut. If you eat 100 of them, sure, you're going to pack on a ton of pounds. But you know what? You can, again, in her program, because nothing is restrictive, if you want a donut, you put that donut on your plan and you enjoy that donut and you change the conversation to say, yep, I'm going to enjoy that donut. But also you can change the conversation to say, oh, you know what? It's not on my plan today, so I'm going to pass. I will live if I don't eat that donut today. The second thing was that I went into this willing to give it 100%. I did not want to halfway this time. I really wanted to take what she was saying, which was completely different than what the rest of the diet industry was saying. And I wanted to test it out for myself. And that was really cool because it really became down to, it's me for me. I became my biggest cheerleader. I became my biggest fan. I stopped all the crazy nonsense stories that I was making up in my head. Well, Dan's eating that. Why can't I eat that? Well, my husband can eat whatever he wants. Right now, if I didn't write it down, great. I can write it down tomorrow. Or I can eat it and then I can write down why I ate it. What, did I eat it because I was hungry? Or did I eat it because I was bored or I didn't want to miss out? What story am I making? And that was the ticket.
So tell me, she talks about there's 4 basics. that she kind of goes through, from the beginning and throughout all of the 300 podcasts, or, the couple hundred that I've listened to. She talks about those 4 basics. So kind of share with us a little bit about what those 4 basics are.
Sure. The 4 basics are about planning your food. It's about getting your water in. It is about sleeping and journaling. And I didn't think that I was going to enjoy the journaling part of it, and that has been my favorite part. By writing things down physically with a pen and paper and getting, again, all these stories that you may not even know you have, and getting all of it out on paper, you're able to say, oh, wow, that makes sense. She talks about planning. So it's all about planning your meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and if you're going to have snacks. It's simply becoming aware of what you're intaking and what you would like to intake that day. So she talks about you can make your plan the night before. I make my plan in the morning, unless there is something specific that I wanted to have the day before and I decided to pause and not eat it, then I'll put it on my plan for the next day. So you write down what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. And for me, and for everybody, it's interesting how initially I really had to go back to saying, okay, I'm my own cheerleader. Be really honest. Do not just write down chicken and broccoli. You didn't have it the last 3 days. Let's be really clear. I'm going to have a sandwich and I'm going to have some potato chips and I'm going to eat the cookie. So becoming really honest and really clear. That way you at least know what you're consuming. You know what you're putting in your body.
But I also think there's something to the planning too, that I liked, and what I have discovered as kind of walking alongside of this with you is that it's intentional.
Yes.
Because then when I write down, like in the morning, it's not that I'm thinking about food all day long, but you're writing it down so that you stick to it, so that when you drive by McDonald's, you're like, oh, fries sound good. I'm going to go get French fries. Right? And because we're spontaneous,
right?
And so then you run through the drive-thru and you grab those French fries and you consume that 230 calories. It still leaves you empty. Whereas if I would have written it down on my plan for the next day to have French fries, either A, by then the craving is gone, and I wouldn't have wanted it anymore, or B, now I'm compensating for it, but I'm really thinking through it. And so I think what the planning does, it just really makes us, I think there are a lot of people that you just eat unintentionally.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. That's one of the things in the journaling that I found out of why I wasn't losing weight, was just that I was randomly eating and snacking here and snacking there and then snacking before dinner. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think that when you become very intentional and that you write down, and the biggest thing, what I have found with that, it's a commitment to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? It's just you're putting yourself number one, but you're keeping that commitment to yourself. These are the things that I'm going to eat today. But like she says, if you want a Big Mac, then put a Big Mac on your plan.
Yeah.
If you want to have pizza, put a pizza on your plan. But just don't put broccoli and chicken on your plan and then drive by McDonald's and get a Big Mac. Right. That's where you're self-sabotaging yourself. But I think that it really is about the intentionality of writing down that this is what I'm going to eat, and it's reasonable.
Well, and you're exactly right with being reasonable, and that's just kind of the kick. That's the start of it. So you do want to make sure that you are creating an actual plan. Now, if you eat McDonald's every day or pizza every day, you're probably not going to lose weight.
Absolutely.
However, at least you're now being very intentional on what you are deciding to be able to put in your body. Right. That's first and foremost. Just being aware, being very clear, being very confident with yourself. And then the second item that you're able to do is what she calls a level up.
Right.
So, for example, if you have been eating McDonald's every single day for the last 6 months and you're getting the same thing, maybe next week you're able to say, I'm going to get a smaller French fry and a smaller soda, or I'm going to level up by taking the cheese and the mayo off today. That's a level up. Then the next week, maybe it could be, you know what? I'm not going to eat out 5 times this week. I'm going to be okay and only eat out 4 times. You do little small improvements that you are okay with doing. You're not going to die. It's not the end of the world. It's these little things that you can then teach your brain, because our brain is all about habits.
That's right.
Our brain wants to make life easy, and it says, oh, we did that yesterday, so just do it again. Do it yesterday. And so that has been huge, to be able to have those level ups and make it to where then for me, I wanted to get to the point where I was having, during the week, I was having a salad for lunch. But